Up, Who Dat Nation? Welcome inside a halftime edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast. I'm your host, Chris Rosvoga. The Saints trailing 17-3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home in a preseason game that, frankly, hasn't been a lot of good. I'll get to my thoughts in just a brief second, but in terms of overall product, if you're looking to be excited about what the Saints have out there today, this is not great. This is not great on either side of the ball. Offensively, there's been struggles. Defensively, it's been a nightmare. Granted, they didn't start any of their main guys defensively. It's been all the second stringers, but still been rough nonetheless. So let's start off with Tyler Shuck, right? This was his opportunity today to start the second preseason game. And I thought personally, and I know everyone had their, arguments about whether or not Shuck was better last week than Rattler. I thought Shuck looked a little bit better than Rattler last week. So I thought coming into this game, if Shuck had a really nice first half, could either close the gap, maybe make him have the lead for this quarterback competition. And I said last week, I didn't think Spencer Rattler did enough to seal his position. He was the favorite going into last week, and I didn't feel like he did enough to secure that spot and say, oh, he's by far QB1. Well, today, I can say the same thing about Shuck, where I don't think he did nearly enough to really impress himself. So I thought the first three drives are pretty rough. Granted, some was, due to pressure. We'll get to Cesar Ruiz in just a second. I thought he had a nice, I believe it was third drive. So the first two drives were rough. Third drive was good. Ends up ending on an Olave drop, and they get a field goal out of it. And then fourth drive wasn't good. Hasn't really felt pressure well. We've seen those concerns that we had about him coming out of Louisville, where kind of gets a little timid under pressure. I would say you've seen those. So look, I'm not going to say Shuck was god-awful, but similar to Rattler, you weren't moved by Rattler this week. You shouldn't be moved by Shuck this week. The quarterback competition will continue on. I don't think we've seen enough. And I do think, actually, if you're the Saints, if you were to start Shuck week one, I think a lot of it comes off of just like, hey, this is our guy, and that's why you're starting him, as opposed to we definitely feel like he's done enough in the preseason, if that makes sense. That's where I'm at with that. Other quick thoughts real quick, guys, before I get into comments, because I really want to get through everything that you guys put in the chat before the second half starts. Run defense, absolutely abysmal. The Saints are getting worked in that category. I would say guys like Isaiah Foskey and DeMarco Jackson should pack their bags, because I don't think either guy, forget about making the roster. They're having the type of performances today where I think it makes the coaching staff's job easy to say, hey, you're not on that week one roster. No defensive starters, so not enough to evaluate there, although I do think we've seen some decent play from Danny Stutzman and a couple of others. Thought Jonas Sanker's been okay. And then Cesar Ruiz, bad and now injured as well. So that's kind of where I'm at. So let me get into all the comments that you guys have. So if you have any thoughts, drop them below. I'm going to try to get through as many as possible. We got a super chat here from Cajun Curveball. Thank you for the support, by the way. It says, Ruiz had a 33 pass grade and 66 run grade last week. My God, can't wait to see this week's grades. He was fucking abysmal, man. That play action pass, Shuck goes, you do the play action fake. By the time he turns around, there's already a free rusher right in his face because Cesar Ruiz can't do his damn job. So, look, I said this on Twitter. I was having a conversation with someone, and I fully believe this. Us Saints fans gave Andrews Pete so much shit, and a lot of it was warranted. I think Cesar Ruiz would deserve 3 times the amount of criticism that we used to give to Andrews Pete. I think he's that bad, truthfully. Fred says, with the way the backups have looked, it's pretty apparent we can't afford 0 injuries on defense this season. It's tough to say, right? Like, defense has been abysmal, but literally every defensive starter is sitting. You're not seeing Justin Reed. You're not seeing Chase Young. You're not seeing DeMario. You're not seeing Pete Werner. You're not seeing Kool-Aid. Obviously, Alante's banged up right now, so it's tough. Same song and dance. Pick up a nice game. Gets negated by a flag. Gives up every third down and never convert third downs. But on a positive note, Kendray's on the verge of breaking a big run. I can feel it. I think Kendray's shown today he's got the juice. So, look, you guys know how I feel. Every year, I am willing to look like a dumbass and say, hey, I think Kendre Miller's going to have a good year. And I'll do it again this year and say, I think he'll have a solid year if he stays healthy. John says, first of all, always a pleasure to watch your show, trying to think positively. I've been very impressed with Fadil Diggs. Statistically hasn't done anything, but the motor is there. I like him. Well, so far today, John, but remember last week's Fadil Diggs was great. I think he had 2 tackles for a loss and a sack statistically and also eye test wise. So still a second half. To your point, John, first off, appreciate the kind words. Second, I do agree. I think Fadil Diggs might be I don't want to say a steal, right? But he might be one of those diamond in the rough type players for the Saints where, like, in 2 preseason games, I've seen more from this 7th rounder from Syracuse than I have in 3 years of Isaiah Foskey, who was a 2nd rounder. This might be the most nothing burger preseason game I've ever seen. Nobody stands out. Yeah, I mean, I was going through my stuff, and the only things I kind of thought were, like, get the ball to Shaheed in space. He's still sick. Traden Welch, catch of the preseason, Kendra looks good. And then that's probably about it. Like, there's not a lot of positives, especially defensively. There's not a lot of positives. And then offensive line's been brutal and Shuck hasn't been good. Robert says they sure as shit aren't giving people much to feel good about. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think some cuts are obvious here. DeMarco Jackson, Isaiah Foskey. I agree. If Foskey makes the week 1 roster, I'll be livid. Nussmeier Arch would be a nice pick in the top 5. Wasted pick on Shuck, in my opinion, doesn't elevate the offense. I'm not ready to go there yet about whether or not it's a wasted pick. But if they're picking top 3, top 2, picking 1, and they have a chance to take a quarterback, then yeah, you should take said quarterback if you don't feel good about Shuck. I think that I'll agree with every day of the week. Not ready to say whether or not he's a wasted pick, though. I would like to see this season play out. But I'm willing to make that comment after the season if it plays out in that manner. I get that we played mostly backups on defense, but I'm really not liking Staley's defense. Guys are wide open, can't stop the run, can't pressure the QB. Pressure-wise, not surprised. I mean, you got Isaiah Foskey rushing every other play. He's getting stonewalled, so not surprised. I'm not going to put this on Staley yet. Like, I want to see the starters and actual week 1 and see how it goes out. We are not going to be a good football team, period. Hard to disagree there. I mean, I don't think the Saints are going to be good this year, but I don't know if they'll be as bad as today looks, but I also don't think the Saints are going to be a team that's winning a lot of games this year. I've said that before. I think that at best they're like a 6-win team. Third downs for this franchise are just a nightmare. Also, Foskey and Ruiz are 2 of the worst professionals to suit up this week by far. Yeah. Swear an O-line consisting of, oh, Jesus. Christopher Reeve, Ray Charles, and Stevie Wonder can block better than these clowns. It's messed up, but I mean, look, I understand the criticism. Shuck had a lackluster half, and this defensive scheme is looking worse than last year. Going to be a long year if any starters go down on either side. I mean, defensively for sure. Offensively, we're like an Eric McCoy injury away from like similar to last year where the interior is just a joke. That said, I just want to say, if anyone's looking for a little bit of positive, I think back-to-back preseason games, granted they're preseason games, Fuaga and Banks look like the real fucking deal. So that's good at least. Ruiz has to go. Shuck is trash, like I've been saying. Again, I think we wait till the season actually starts. But yeah, obviously not a good performance from him, for sure. Did nothing to help his case today. Ruiz is the offensive version of Foskey at this point. I agree with you. Cade Klubnik, welcome to New Orleans. Seen enough. Let Taysom right off into the sunset as a starting quarterback. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I love Taysom, though. At least Groupie looks good. Hopefully he can kick 80-yard field goals. Yeah, look, Groupie's the truth. That's one of the positives, I guess. So that's definitely a good way to look at it. Jerry G saying, I'm still here, not upset. Look, Jerry, it's preseason. I don't want to look. I get it. Like, I get the frustration. And I'll probably, when we do our post-game live stream, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that and subscribe to Boo Crew Media so you get alerted for when we go live in about, let's say, an hour from now. We'll see when we actually end up going live. Hour and a half. Yeah, well, look, I'll probably be a little bit more vocal if this continues. You want to see some bright spots today. The fact that we finished the whole half of football and us Saints fans don't have a lot to talk about is shitty. But a lot of their playmakers are obviously sitting today. No Alvin, no Eric McCoy, no Chase Young, no defensive starters in general. So we'll see what happens. We might be in for a long season. I see why people think we're going to go 0-17. It might be a while before Saints are good again. Agreed. Y'all wanted a rebuild. Welcome to hell. Look, I'm going to be honest. I see a lot of people saying that. And the truth is, like, we're not even into that yet. Like, wait until the regular season starts. Like, the people that wanted a rebuild, and I also am one of those people that, like, I understand the Saints need a reset for sure. If they start the season, it's like 0-6, you're like, man, football becomes miserable quickly. We're all excited for football when it starts, but like if they start, let's say 0-6, 0-7, whatever the hell it might be, shit's going to get rough. Shuck or Rattler aren't getting any help, so that's where it falls. More drafted Shuck, and he'll be the starter, in my opinion. I kind of agree. There. Must upgrade from Saunders, Ruiz, and Foskey. I agree. Why were the locals hyping this quarterback competition? I feel like this doesn't matter. The O-line is ass. O-line has struggled, no doubt. No, Eric McCoy matters, though. I do think Eric McCoy is like the savior for this O-line in the interior. He's just the glue that holds the guard play together. So I would wait to see how that looks. Why people are hyping the quarterback competition? I think it's just a matter of, man, what else are you going to hype up about this Saints team? This is the big storyline for them. Cajun Curveball with another super chat. Thank you for the support. Says, Groupie leading scorer on this team, second year in a row. I don't even think that's a question. Like, I think that's such a fact. I think, like, if you had to put, like, money in the bank, who's the leading scorer for the Saints, it's not close. It's going to be Blake Groupie. That's if they get in field goal range often. But Blake Groupie's money. And it's actually a shame because he's such a good kicker. He's one of those guys, like, if the Saints were in a playoff game, you feel comfortable with him attempting that kick. But Saints in playoff games probably won't be going together for a while. So that's kind of where I'm at. Kendra did look good. I thought Kendra looked really good. I thought he looked really good. Margaret says Olave didn't help Shuck with the drop. No, and that's a drive that you want to end in 7. Might have very well ended in 7. Really nice drive was getting the ball to Shaheed after obviously had the really nice pass to Welch and a great catch from Welch. Got Shaheed involved, got Olave involved. Unfortunate Olave kind of slips and then drops it. You kind of throw that one out to the side because you imagine regular season Olave make the play, but in that moment, obviously it's upsetting. You want to see that drive end in a positive. Call Cleveland, offer a 4th for Shedeur. I don't think that's going to happen. They could have drafted him and they didn't. Whether or not people want him or not, they could have drafted him and they didn't. They're not going back that route. Ruiz has been super disappointing. I think that's a very nice way of putting it. Andrews Pete, Ruiz can't touch his jock strap, much less hold it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Ruiz is garbage. Shuck is garbage and overhyped. Foskey needs to get the first bus to get to the ocean and never come back to land. Yeah, look, if Foskey ends up making the week 1 roster, I'll just be perplexed. I don't think this guy is good. I don't know what value he would bring this team. Even if you want to say special teams, there's guys that like Isaiah Stallbird. That guy I see on special teams make play. I don't see shit from Isaiah Foskey that warrants keeping him on the roster. We are absolute booty cheeks. We have the depth of a high school team, 2-15 incoming. That's what a lot of people are kind of saying. Don't understand what the fuck y'all seen in Miller. He's absolutely garbage. Look, I don't think Kendrick Miller's like a special running back at all. Like, I wouldn't say that. I just think if you're looking for that complementary piece to Alvin, and not like complimentary like a Mark Ingram, like that's a dynamic duo, Mark Ingram and Alvin, what they did for the Saints. But I think if you're just looking for a guy that's going to add a little bit more juice to the run game in terms of having that burst, I do think Kendra has that. Is Kendra a great runner in terms of vision? No, I think that was the one thing I loved Devin Neal had out of Kansas, but Devin Neal's banged up right now, so we don't get to see Devin Neal. And I don't think you're going to get that from Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Cam Akers. So right now, I think he's your RB2. I do think he has that burst. I do think he's a physical runner. But if we're going to talk about vision, obviously it's not great. But I do think that Kendra runs extremely hard. Yards after contact today have been pretty good for him. So to me, I think Kendra's been pretty solid. But no, I don't think he's a special running back. I just think he's a solid asset for them. Maybe 6 wins, maybe. Best case scenario, I think. I think that's where we're at. Best case scenario. Ruiz needs to go so that it's that a guard. So Ruiz needs to go. So that's a guard we need in the offseason. If Penning doesn't work out, then we have to address left guard, right guard. We have to look at waivers to address depth. Yeah, and you're not going to get wide receiver depth. That's for sure. I'll do one more. Let's see, one, maybe 2 more comments because the second half's about to start. Saints fans deserve this after last year. Who would want to play for this organization? I mean, what are we talking about last year? We talking about like the Derek Carr situation? It's tough to say. Max says, if anyone goes down on first team defense, we're screwed. I agree. That's for sure. So it's tough, man. It's tough right now. So we got second half opening up. I'm going to head out of here. I'll be back for post-game live stream. We'll see how Rattler looks. I think this is a big opportunity, obviously, for Rattler if he could cook the second and third stringers, and we'll go from there. Us Saints fans need a positive. We need a little bit of a win today, so we'll see if Spencer can give us some optimism there, but that's going to do it for this one right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys were absolutely great. Please, if you guys are around, come back in for the post-game live stream. I'll make sure I'll get everyone's comments in, I promise. So if you guys are around, please come back and also subscribe to Bucher Media. So that's going to wrap up for the halftime live stream. We'll be back in, let's call it an hour. Talk to you guys soon.